Okay, so we're going to look at importing your storyboard so you can turn it into an animatic. So the first thing to do, once you've scanned in your storyboard, is create a new project. So in Premiere, File, New, Project. Give it a name. You browse to wherever you want to save it, obviously. You don't need to change any of the other settings. Okay, and then you've got your new empty project, so we want to import the storyboard in. So to do that, File, Import, navigate to where your storyboard is, where the scan is. Now again, it's going to be, well, I'll just explain this once we've imported it in. So your storyboard is going to be a series of drawings. So you see it's imported into the project panel here. If I double click on it, we can see it in the source folder. So you've got a series of drawings. And we're going to use those to create our animatic. First thing we want to do is change the sequence settings so they match the dimensions of the storyboard. So the standard setting is 1280 by 720. So if we go to sequence and sequence settings, right, sorry, before I can access those, I just need to drag from the project panel, drag our storyboard onto the timeline so we have a sequence that we can change the settings for, and then sequence settings, and you'll see here we've got the frame size here, so horizontal and vertical sizes. So I'm going to change that to 1280 and 720. Okay, now our frame rate here is standard is 25. We're going to set to 10. Okay, now that again, this depends on your project, yeah, but it could be 10 frames a second, could be 24. 24, 25 is usually the average. So we'll probably best if we go for 24 actually, and everything else can stay as it is. So if we OK that, and OK again, so you can see that's resized the program window, and we've got this black space around here now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to resize. We're going to start to create the animatic. So we're going to resize the storyboard. So if I double click on the actual storyboard in the program window here, click on effect controls here, see if we can control position and scale. So what I'm going to do is, now we can resize, this is like the transform tool, so we can resize the storyboard in the window here to a point, but if we're resizing, scaling it up a lot, it's better to do it in the window here, in the effect control window. So if I go to scale here, I can click and drag to scale. So I want to scale them up, scale it up so it fits in the window there. So that's about right. You can just tweak it a bit. So that's our first frame of our storyboard. Okay, so we can start to construct the animatic now. So basically what I'm going to do is we're on 24 frames a second, so that's 1 second of film there. So I'm going to just drag out the duration, extend the duration of the clip here. I can do that kind of indefinitely really, and then I can zoom in, zoom out on the timeline obviously here. So I want this this first scene to be about 2 seconds long, so that's 48 frames. Remember, this is frames we're dealing with at the top here. So with the razor tool here, I'm going to cut at frame 48. So that isolates our first scene here. So with the selection tool, I can click on that scene, select it. Again, I can just play it through. So there we have our 2 seconds of the first scene. I'm going to move to the second scene now. I'm going to zoom out a bit more. So our second scene, I think we'll make that 2 frames as well. Sorry, 2 seconds, about 2 seconds as well. Again, I mean, you might want to just do this by playing it through, so you know, play and stop when you want the second scene to end. What I would say is once you've separated out this second scene, all we need to do up here in the program window is double click to select the storyboard and just move it along to the second scene here. Okay, so again you can just play through. So I've got my first scene, 2 seconds, second scene, you can let it play through and just stop it when you think it's been on screen for long enough. So that's about, what's that, about 3 seconds roughly. So again, if I place another cut here, okay, and that's scene 2. So if I go on to scene 3, again I can just keep, with the selection tool selected, I can just keep extending the duration here. So our second scene, third scene here, again we can double click on the program window and shift along. So this is our third scene. So this is going to be a zoom actually. So again, I'm just going to place a cut. Okay, and we were going to put a zoom on this one. Now I'd suggest just with the selection tool again, just move this extra bits of footage away just to the side here, so we can just be sure that we're only tweening this third scene. So again, a lot of this is similar to Animate. So if I move the playhead to the beginning of our third clip, we can go up to effect controls here again. We can click once on position and scale, and that creates a keyframe. You can see here represented by this kind of diamond shape. And then if I move the playhead to the end of our third scene, and I can just scale again by dragging on these values here. I can scale that up, and again that has the effect of creating a zoom. I can reposition it. Okay, and you can see that it's tweened in between that first keyframe, and it's now created, now I've scaled and repositioned it, it's created a second keyframe at the end of this clip here. And if I scrub the playhead to the end, we've got our zoom. Okay, so that's basically it. And obviously you can use this same technique to create pans or any other kind of camera movement, or to, you know, recompose a scene if you want. Okay, finally, just to think about audio as well. So when you're constructing your animatic, it's probably a good idea to start to include audio, or maybe include the audio first is often a good practice, and then kind of edit to the audio. So to import music, so I'm going to add some music to this one. Go to File, Import again. Okay, navigate to wherever your music file is. Okay, so we've got a WAV file here. I'm going to import that in, and you see that goes into the project folder. Again, very simply, you can drag that like any other clip onto on the audio parts sections of the timeline, and then the audio is in place, so I can just play that through, and then I can start to, as I place my edits, you know, edit to the audio. Obviously you've got multiple audio tracks, so if you wanted to record some dialogue as well and put that in, you can do. So there we go, so that's basically how you import the audio.